Yeah, good day everyone. My name is Adebanjo, Olusegun, your maths teacher. Today is another day and we give glory to God. You're welcome to class. And this will serve as a review of what we discussed the last time we met. The last time we met was on Friday, 22nd May 2020. And that day we discussed about geometry, three-dimensional shape. We're meant to discuss three-dimensional shape, but I told you I wouldn't just want to go into the topic, that I would like to take you through some of the basics, and that was what I did. And that day we discussed about 4 objectives. The first one among them was I told you about what geometry is all about. The second thing we look at then was the types of geometry. The third was some of the geometry facts, and the last thing we looked at that day was to identify and name some of the two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes. So we also look at some of the key vocabulary words that I told you that those are the things that we need to look at so that the learning will be smooth for us. We look at what is points, and I told you it is an imaginary dot. When 2 points are joined together by a straight line, the result is a line. It forms what is called a line. And all that will be a straight lines. And I told you that for lines, within the lines, you can actually carve out some points. So when you carve out, say, point A, point B within a line, it forms what is called segment. So part of a line is called segment, and we also look at what is called curved lines. So these are non-straight lines. I'm sure you are familiar with that. When it's not straight, it is curved. So those are the things we look at, so as to refresh your memory on that. So let's look at what is geometry. I told you geometry is the study of points, lines, curves, shapes, and space. I come again. What is geometry? Geometry is the study of points, lines, curves, shapes, and space. Types of geometry are plane geometry and solid geometry. There are 2 types of geometry. One is plane geometry and the second one is solid geometry. Plane geometry is about flat shapes like lines, circles, and triangles. Examples of plane geometry are lines, circles, and triangles. That has to do with flat shapes. Solid geometry is about solid three-dimensional shapes like spheres and cubes, and that's the area that we ought to look at. But before we even look at that, we need to study about some of the basics, like I told you earlier. I hope you are following. Thank you. So let's move on to the next thing. That's talking about geometry facts. Geometry facts are gently declaring the 3 parts. These parts are, that's what that is telling us, is that there are 3 geometry facts. We have one-dimensional, two-dimensional, and three-dimensional. The one-dimensional geometric fact is called the line. The lines have only length. That's the one-dimensional geometric fact has to do with length. The two-dimensional has to do with length and breadth. Then the three-dimensional has to do with length, breadth, and height. So we move on. The last thing we discussed that day was that some of the two-dimensional shapes we have are square, rectangle, triangle, and circles. Some of the two-dimensional shapes are square, rectangle, triangle, and circle. Then for the three-dimensional shapes we have cone, cube, cylinder, and sphere. We have cone, cube, cylinder, and sphere. For the review of our last class so that we can start today's class. Thank you.